It appears that people have sampled the 2024 NFL product and said thanks, but no thanks. It appears that millions of people have come to the same conclusion that I arrived at 2 or 3 years ago. The current NFL product sucks. I mean, it sucks. Now, that is not something that you're going to hear at ESPN. It's not something that you're going to hear from Colin Cowherd at Fox Sports. If they're being honest with themselves, they're probably thinking it, but they can't give you that level of honesty, at least on those platforms, because ESPN and Fox, they don't want to get on the NFL's bad side. One of the biggest problems, though, in the NFL right now, they're not meeting our expectations. For 20, 25, maybe 30 years, we got accustomed to what the NFL could be, or what the NFL is supposed to be. People in my generation, millennials, we grew up watching the elite of the elite. We grew up watching the greatest quarterbacks to ever play. You want to know how great Drew Brees and Tom Brady were? Look at their respective organizations today. Patriots, they're a WNBA level dumpster fire. My Saints are a complete embarrassment. They are the definition of incompetent. Drew Brees disguised so many mistakes in New Orleans. This dude had the ability to make Keith Kirkwood look like an NFL receiver. This dude made Lance Moore look like a Hall of Famer. Drew Brees covered the incompetence of Saints general manager Mickey Loomis. And ever since the legends retired, the NFL just hadn't been the same. This next generation of quarterbacks, for the most part, there really ain't nothing special about them. I mean, Gardner Minshew started the season as a starting quarterback. Gardner Minshew, a dude who looks like he should be starring in Night Nurses from Jersey. Gardner Minshew. If you haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. If you happen to stumble across this video, be sure to check out my main channel, Behind the Line. Search Behind the Line here on YouTube. Should be the first channel that comes up. For the second week in a row, NFL ratings have declined. Through the first 4 weeks of the season, ratings were basically flat. I think they were up around 1%. Past 2 weeks, they have drastically declined. Now, we don't know how much they have declined on the season because the NFL refuses to release the number. I wonder why. But if you look at individual windows, it ain't looking good for the NFL. Niners Seahawks down 5%. Early windows on Fox last week down 13%. Lions Cowboys down 8%. Bengals Giants, least watched game in the Sunday night window in 4 years. Bills Jets on Monday night, which was a great game, I thought, down 2 million viewers from last year. At a time when the league is focused on growth, at a time when the league is focused on expanding its reach, it seems to be rapidly declining. I'm not an expert, to borrow a phrase from my good friend George Bush, dib ya? I'm not an economer when it comes to analyzing ratings, but I'd be willing to bet this decline in ratings, it can be directly attributed to the same thing I have been complaining about for the past 3 years. The quality of play in this league sucks. I can't remember another time when the NFL has lacked star power like it does today. Now, normally in football, star power doesn't matter as much as it does in a league like the NBA. Typically, the NFL is the draw itself, but when the quality of play has declined like this, star power is one of the things you can rely on to keep people interested. Outside of Patrick Mahomes, who is the mainstream draw? Josh Allen? Lamar Jackson? I know the kids think they're elite, but the rest of us are still waiting to see it. The NFL's hoping to bounce back this week with a better offering of big games, but as I'm looking at the schedule, I realized how far this league has actually fallen. Tonight, Broncos Saints. Boring. Look at the shelves behind me. Ain't hard to figure out who my team in the NFL is. I'm not going to be watching that game tonight, and it's not because of lack of access. I've got Amazon Prime. It's due to a complete lack of interest. Patriots Jags, boring. Bills Titans, boring. Dolphins Colts, boring. Seahawks Falcons, boring. Bengals Browns, boring. Raiders Rams, boring. Do I need to keep going? Texans, Packers, Chiefs, Niners, Ravens, Bucks. That might be enough to save the weekend, but for the most part, the product on the field continues to leave a lot to be desired. Like I told you guys last week, I'm starting to wonder if this is the new norm. And look, these complaints, they are not coming from a casual observer. I have been watching this league for over 30 years. I have watched damn near every edition of NFL Red Zone since it premiered back in 2009. Today, I find myself bored watching it. Last Sunday, I turned it off completely. I think the combination of health concerns combined with parents not allowing their kids to play, along with NFL players themselves limiting the amount of time they can practice, I think it's having a devastating impact on the product on the field. Throughout the week this week, Dennis Allen has been saying that one of the ways to fix the Saints' 32nd ranked defense is to focus on tackling drills. Tackling drills? Tackling drills for professional football players? An NFL head coach is talking about tackling drills in the middle of the season? Now, granted, it is the worst head coach in the league, but that is what I'm talking about with the quality of play. Professional football players struggling to make tackles. The decline of the NFL, it has been a perfect storm. Fewer and fewer kids are playing. Elite players are retiring early over concerns for their long-term health. Players went from having 60 to 70 padded practices in the offseason to having 17. They've got the same amount of padded practices as they do games. I wonder if any of that contributes to the decline that we are seeing on the field. Problem is, I don't see things getting any better. Actually, I think it get a lot worse. We're about 10 years away from having the first full CTE generation making up the entirety of the league. The first generation that didn't start playing football at 5 years old. First generation that could see star athletes choosing the NBA, maybe even Major League Baseball over the NFL. I hope I'm wrong. I want the NFL to return to greatness. I miss NFL Sunday. I miss being excited about football, but I'm starting to come to terms with the real possibility that it's over. Give me your thoughts on this. NFL ratings decline for the second consecutive week. Quality of play continues to be abysmal. I don't know. Maybe it's me. Maybe I've become the guy living in the past, but in all honesty, kind of hard not to. When you give me top shelf bourbon for 30 years, it's kind of hard to go back to drinking Boone's Farm. Has the NFL become boring? You tell me. Sound off in the comments below. See you on the main channel.